Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Chris Marshall with us. This is going to be a fun one because we're talking about how AI fits into the world of real estate investing. AI is the new hot topic here in all of the business world, and so it'll be interesting to see how this conversation goes. Chris has a lot of experience from fix and flips to commercial properties to note investing, so a lot of wisdom here to be gleaned, and I'm super excited to dive into it. Chris, thanks very much for hopping on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Gabe. This is a real pleasure.
All right. Yeah, I told you before we got on here, we like starting with stories. So why don't you take us back to the beginning of your story? How'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah. So pretty briefly, father started a construction company when I was 15. Spent 5 years working for him. We eventually sold that. Floated around for like a year, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Worked in a bunch of jobs. Had a lot of friends call me a job hopper, and because I just kept going from thing to thing, couldn't figure out what I wanted. Eventually started my own general contracting company, and within that first year, I decided I was also going to get into flipping homes, which made it really difficult finding the lending to get that after you started a brand new business and your wife also did that as well. So finding the lending on that first deal was a real challenge, but eventually made it. It was a single family flip. I've always loved the artistry of historic downtown homes. So we always went after those, trying to revitalize those. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but great flips.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you had your own contracting company, you already have a leg up. My first flip, I knew nothing about it, and it was a nightmare. So it sounds like you already knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I don't recommend those flips for people who don't have a background in construction, because that first one, we ended up jacking up a portion of the foundation to repair it. We had to jack up a portion of the second story because it was cantilevered out and was collapsing down into the first story of the house. Was a total gut job, completely new electrical, plumbing, you name it, all the way out to the street.
The works. I love it.
Yeah.
And this was right after you started the construction company, you said?
Yeah, I think I had that construction company for about 6 months before we found that first flip. I knew I wanted to get into real estate investing and I wanted to do it. So that was part of starting the GC company, but didn't take into account that lending would be nearly impossible to get into. So
yeah, lending is one of the first hurdle, or just capital is the first hurdle a lot of people have to overcome when they decide they want to get into investing. They realize, shit, I need, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this done. So that is a hard hurdle. Once you took that first property down, you flipped it. What were the next few steps that you took? How did you scale from that point?
Yeah, so that first one was supposed to be a flip, and we did end up selling it, but it's a weird, funny story. I ended up putting a tenant in there just a hair too early. I'd always heard, if you can't flip the home and it's not selling, put a tenant in it. Wait a little bit longer on making that change than you think you might need, because literally the day I signed a lease agreement with the tenant, I had a full price offer for someone to buy it. And so I debated whether or not just to sell it, but ultimately kept the tenant in there. Sold it like 2 years later, but moved into other flips, did a couple more, bought some single family rental properties on purpose, not on accident. And then ended up moving into a commercial historic building. So this was one of those historic downtown commercial buildings.
That's cool.
Was right across.
And what city are you investing in here?
So this was in Farmington, Missouri. So it's about an hour south of St. Louis. It's not a very huge town. Maybe 50,000 people. It's not very big. But this building was, high visibility in our town, right across from the courthouse, the most trafficked street in our downtown area. So had the only coffee shop I think available right next door to it. So
I already like it.
High visibility. So it was a fun project. That one ended up very interestingly. If you want to talk more about that later, we can talk about it.
Yeah. Those historic buildings, I just love when people do those flips, when they keep some of the old charm from the building, like maybe the brick facade or some of the woodwork on the inside, and then they bring in the modern the modern finishings to make it look clean. Love those flips. And if you do it right, man, it's golden.
They are.
Right on. Well, so you were doing, sounds like commercial single family flips. At some point you decided to get into the tech side of things. What made you, or kind of what led you to create Ari? And tell us a little bit about the company. What does it actually do?
Yeah, great question. So 3 years ago, COVID happened, right? The whole world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
We went down to Florida, where we live now. My parent-in-laws purchased a farm. It's like the week COVID, everything shut down in Missouri. So
a farm.
Well, we could sit around here. Yeah, we could sit around here and do nothing, or we could go down there and sit by a pool in the nice weather, because it was still miserable and rainy March 2020 in Southeast Missouri. So we decided to go down there. While we were down there for a week, I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. We had just finished up that commercial property. I was just in between stuff, trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And a couple of people had been reaching out to me already to ask for advice and help and all this stuff. And I had this idea of trying to figure out, how do I keep track of all my properties in my pipeline portfolio? And that's really kind of where it all came about. What it ended up being over the next 3 years was this start to finish real estate investment platform that's powered by AI. And ultimately, we're trying to de-risk lending opportunities by capital providers for real estate investors. So the people who are giving out hard money loans or private money loans, private equity, stuff like that, we take in all the facts from real estate investments and the real estate investor, and we come up with this thing we call an investor confidence score. It's our version of a credit score, which helps lenders and lending institutions kind of underwrite deals a little bit faster, a little bit more thoroughly, and ultimately providing cheaper capital for the real estate investor.
Nice. Okay. So your platform is the consumer of your platform is lenders. It's not the everyday investor.
Yeah, it's a little unique. We are still a startup, so we're still figuring out a lot of this stuff. It is very much a marketplace and platform style software company. So real estate investors would utilize it in everything, and we track basically every interaction that a real estate investor does with their investment properties. So from their analysis to, the status flows that they're working through, to working with the lenders, the realtors, the contractors, we keep track of all that. And then Ari's AI on the back end just kind of puts all that together, puts it in a deal package so that lenders can see that, other people can see that, and determine how good for a real estate investor you might be and how good of an investment this might be to ultimately de-risk that lending opportunity for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. It sounds like a very good tool for lenders for sure. Sounds a little bit Black Mirror-ish. Have you seen that show at all?
I have not. No.
Don't worry about it. It's a show where everybody gets like a score, and then credit scores are essentially that, and so it's no big deal. I don't know a ton about AI. I understand the general idea of it. I understand you have to feed it with some sort of instructions on how to develop its intelligence. And so how do you go about feeding it? Is it just obviously it's the activity from the investors within the platform, but how does it determine that this specific investor is a good investor versus a bad investor?
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on Skool to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, so that would be like the training data, and it really involves just recreating deals from experienced investors and just kind of walking them through. A lot of it is just like algorithms and figuring out like, okay, if a realtor has estimated 10 properties after repair values on this platform, and over those 10 estimates, they are within a 95% accuracy. Well, that one little factor gets put into a much larger set of factors and equations that kind of ultimately spit out this investor confidence score. So it's a lot of data points, a lot of tracking of interactions, and everything that we don't think about as real estate investors just kind of goes into it. So,
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So for if someone wanted to have a positive score, a 800 credit score, whatever the equivalent is on your platform, they would need to use the platform as their CRM, as their Monday, essentially, and do the analyses, run your lead generation, all that through the platform. The system would understand that. It would see your activity, see how efficient you are as an investor, and then spit it out to the lenders who say, okay, this guy's kicking ass or this guy sucks. and they could make a decision based on that, correct?
Yes, essentially. The cool thing, how I set it up is to how I got my first real estate investment loan, which was like borrowing other people's social credit. So
you had a cosigner?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No cosigners. But I had a really good, well-known real estate agent helping me on the after repair value and estimating all this different stuff. I had a really well-known contractor who was partnering with me on estimating the rehab budget and kind of walking me through an overall rehab of that scale. And then, I put all this stuff together in a deal packet with their credit towards this local community bank that ended up lending to us on this first deal. And so when I was considering building Ari, I went back to that bank and asked them why they lent to me on that first deal. And that was one of the factors that they had said is I didn't just use my credibility. I ended up using the credibility of all these other people and the team that I built around doing this first deal to kind of ultimately tell the bank, in addition to the numbers that I was running, that this could be a good investment and that I probably wasn't going to fail or lose their money. So like that's kind of how it all works. You build your team on Ari, their individual investor confidence scores also lends to your individual confidence score on that deal. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, it's just like how regular teams work, right? You get a whole bunch of bright brains in different areas of real estate who are experts at different sides of real estate. Get them together as a team. They are rock stars, individuals. As an individual, they might not be the best at everything, but when you bring them together, it's somebody you definitely want to lend with. So makes sense to me. What's the next step for you guys? Are you at a point where you're taking on customers, or where is the platform in terms of its scale?
Yeah, so we have started taking on customers. Just a couple of months ago, we started getting some users on. We've been building out our platform partner relationships with lenders and other people, any type of service provider that helps real estate investors, just building out those connections. We're considering doing a raise.
Nice.
To start scaling some stuff up. But other than that, just working, building out the platform, building out the AI and all the logic behind everything. Just trying to make a really good tool to help starting and scaling real estate investors.
Very cool. Very cool. How about let's just talk about AI in general in terms of how it fits within real estate. I understand, you guys are working kind of on the lender side. What other applications do you see when it comes to AI in real estate?
There are a ton. Pace Morby, I don't know if you know who Pace Morby is. The guy. So he's putting out an AI for real estate investing. I don't know what it does or what it's intended to do. I don't really look too much at the competition right now. Our focus on AI is a little bit different than a lot of other AI startups. We're very focused on how does AI interact with the user. So how does that whole interaction and the ability to use one work instead of just putting out something called a large language model AI, which is what ChatGPT is, and just re-skinning it to make it say that this is for real estate investors. So there's a lot of the 600 startups out there that are right now that are AI focused are doing. It's just
language models,
ChatGPT, and just plugging it into our platform.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of AI applications for marketing, and I feel like every single company out there is making something where you're using AI to connect with the seller, and so you're automatic text messages. I don't know if somebody's done a voice one, but stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's not a chat bot where you talk to it. This is a data machine AI. So we're analyzing data on the back end and then giving advice and feedback and stuff like that. So not really something you carry on a conversation with yet. Maybe in the future.
Who knows, man? In the future, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, I'm going to move us on a little bit. Before we move to the quick question round, I got to ask about what you're doing actually in real estate outside of tech. So what's your current goals in terms of real estate? Are you still on the commercial side? Are you guys focused in on those historic buildings, or what is your current strategy?
Yes, still very much focused in on the commercial real estate investing side. I just finished up a renovation out in Florida, and I quickly realized that I cannot invest into flips like I used to if I want to continue building the startup. So the way I do it is I do a lot of the work primarily myself and be very focused on building these nice, beautiful, fancy homes. And you can't put that much time and energy into flips like that if you want to build a startup, I'm realizing. So I'm transitioning now more into just focusing on the commercial side, and then also note investing. Part of Ari's future is giving out loans. We have this relationship, so I'm trying to figure out more of how to be a lender on deals through private equity, private capital side. So we are exploring more of that now.
Very cool. Sounds like you guys got a bright future ahead of you. I'm going to use that as a segue into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Starts with books or any form of education. Give me 2 recommendations. 1 for general life wisdom, 1 for real estate specific.
The Hard Thing About Hard Things. Great book. I'm working through it right now. The first 3 chapters was phenomenal. Just something I think everyone should listen to because it's a pretty good general book if you're in business or anything like that. Real estate specific books. Been a while since I've read any real estate specific books. Probably just Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The tried and true.
I don't want to say it, but it's the only one that's really coming to mind right now. So
yeah. No, that's a book that has inspired many, so it's legitimate to say that one. Moving us on to the next question. This is about your younger self. So let's go back to the Chris who is still working with his dad out in that contracting business so many years ago. Go to him, look him in the eye, give him 1 piece of advice moving forward.
Start buying real estate sooner. Yeah.
Funny. Everybody, for the first question, many people say Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For the second question, everybody says, I wish I started sooner. And that is a lesson for everybody out there who's on the fence. You're thinking about investing. You're putting your toe here and there. This is your message. Get out there, get invested, buy a piece of property, get invested in some syndication. any way you can, just get started because everybody wish they started sooner. So love that. Next question is about your company.
Oh, second.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say it's either that or Bitcoin goes to $64,000. So buy it and sell it when it gets to there.
Yeah, if only, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next question is about your business. The first three positions you hire form the foundation of your business. So, what were they for you, and would you do it differently if you did it again today?
Plumber. I hate doing plumbing, so hire a good plumber.
Okay.
Any exterior work, hire someone that does the siding and the roofing.
Okay.
And then someone to organize my thoughts. Those would be the
VA.
first three. Yeah,
Okay.
personal assistant. Ideally, it would be someone that could follow me around in person all day long to also like record stuff and all that stuff. But yeah.
Nice. I like it. And it sounds like that was very focused around flipping. So flippers out there, plumbing is legit. I tried plumbing when I did my first flip. Not a good idea. Definitely hire that one out. Yeah. All right. Next question is about the U.S. Big place, a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single city, the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
It's my home metro, Ocala Metro. So go look up the reports. We're the -- growing city in America. We had the highest population growth in 2022. We beat out Austin for second place. They're obviously a much larger city than Ocala, but percentage-wise, we were the #1. U-Haul puts us at the #1 destination spot in America. We are tons of job opportunity, tons of growth, tons of people moving to Ocala and Central Florida in general. So, yeah.
Nice. You are the first person that said Ocala. I actually didn't even know it was in Florida. I just looked it up. It's right smack dab there in the middle, which makes a lot of sense because I'm sure that's a stop. I mean, that's a stopping point between Orlando and anything up north, Tampa, Fort Myers. Y'all got to go through Ocala. So makes a lot of sense. All right, next question is about finding deals. It all starts with with marketing, with lead generation. So what is your favorite way to find good deals?
Completely through a network. So I don't really look at Zillow or anything like that. A lot of my job is making friends with real estate agents. So I've got a lot of real estate agent friends, and they bring me off-market deals or opportunities or pocket listings. I'll give a free shout out to another startup. There is a app called Wadzoo. I'm not affiliated with them. They're brand new. They are an off-market real estate investment marketplace. So all they do is they work with wholesalers and real estate investors, and they put their off-market deals on Wadzoo. So they are trying to be the Zillow, but for real estate investors. So interesting.
Okay. And that's what is it? Wadzoo, WADZU or ZOO?
ZOO. Yep.
Okay.
So their whole thing is they have deals out the Wadzoo. So.
Clever. I like it. All right, Wadzoo. It's a good shout out there. I will have to check that one out. And that sounds like wholesalers can list their properties on that as well.
Yes.
Nice. All right, next question is about your strengths. All of us are given gifts that we uniquely provide this world. So what is your Superman strength?
Either standard operating procedures or just get in there and do the work.
Hey man, that is the gift that you need when it comes to real estate. Creating processes, making sure things run efficiently, and then just getting shit done, because real estate, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, and you just got to be able to put those together and make sure everything's moving in the right direction. That leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you, learn a little bit more about Ari. What is the best place for people to find you?
So you can go to thechrismarshall.com. That's got all my personal contact information, stuff on my blog, my podcast. It has links to all the software companies that we own and real estate investment stuff, and everything's on there.
Cool. That is the Chris Marshall with 2Ls.com. I will put that link in the show notes. All you guys got to do is click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description, and there you can find Chris's link. All right, man, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. And if you guys want to support the show, all we ask is you give us a like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.